Hello, Happy New Year, and welcome back to school, and welcome to NV 577, Engineering for Solid Waste Management. My name is Rob. I'm going to be your instructor this term, and I'm looking forward to kind of sharing what I've learned working in the solid waste industry in the last 4 years, and what I've learned from working on this course for the last 4 years as well. So I came out here today to start the course at the Brubaker House, which is on North Campus in Waterloo, to start us off with a little bit of discussion on land acknowledgement, which is always a good place to start for an institution that's working on reconciliation, and for us as treaty people living in Canada on treaty lands. So the Brubaker House was built in 1850 or 1851, and it's one of the first structures erected by the Mennonite farmers who originally settled in this area. And this area is on the Haldimand Tract, which is a tract of land 6 miles deep on either side of the Grand River, which was granted to the Haudenosaunee for allying with the British during the American Revolutionary War. They were driven out of some of their lands in New York because of that alliance and settled in the Haldimand Tract. We're on Block 2 of that tract in Waterloo, and the current status of that tract is under dispute, and there have been some developments over the last year bringing attention to that, issues of land back across Canada. So in town we've had Ose Kaniongadaje in Waterloo Park until a few weeks ago, and in Kitchener, Victoria Park before then, who have been talking about some of these things, and also on the Haldimand Tract, 1492 Landback Lane down near Caledonia, Ontario. So lots of ongoing issues on the Haldimand Tract that we can talk about, and for everyone who's not in Waterloo, I encourage you to look up what the status of the land you're on is, and other movements for Indigenous sovereignty and reconciliation going on where you live, and I'll put a link in the description where you can find some of that stuff. So with these land acknowledgements, sorry, I should finish this one. So we're on the Haldimand Tract. We're also in traditional dish with one spoon territory, which is shared between the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabeg from north, and the neutral people also were traditionally in this area. So with these land acknowledgements, there's a risk that you kind of say it once and forget about it. What I like about this waste course is we really can't just focus on the engineering. We really are forced to look at the whole of society and our system of production and consumption to really talk about waste effectively. And that comes back down to environmental justice and Indigenous sovereignty in a few ways. So just for a couple examples, if anyone's heard of Grassy Narrows, Ontario, it's a community affected with mercury poisoning in their water, and that's from a landfill for pulp and paper industry waste that leached into the river system and poisoned the fish and ended up poisoning the people, and it's been going on for decades and nothing's been done about it. This is a really clear link between solid waste engineering and treatment of Indigenous people in Canada. Another really good example is Canal, which anyone who's done anything about contaminated sites, it's like the first big one, it's the first EPA Superfund site. That's also a landfill in the United States. It was a chemical waste landfill, and they built a neighborhood over it, very kind of low income, highly racialized neighborhood, and of course a lot of those people ended up getting sick, and that's how they knew there was something going on with the landfill, and had to do one of the biggest early remediation efforts. So there are just some examples of where waste comes into it, but it's really this idea of the way we structure our society right now. We have a linear economy where we take material from somewhere, we make it into something, and then we waste it. So one-way thing. It has negative consequences for the places we take resources from, also the places where we make things, and then the places where we put our waste, as evidenced by Grassy Narrows and the Canal. So part of what we'll talk about in this course, actually throughout the course, I hope, is how we can break out of this linear model. This is both unsustainable and also has negative economic and social impacts. So we'll give you some tools to do that, such as triple bottom line analysis we'll talk about really early. But I want to make sure that throughout this course we're not just talking about the technical problems, because if we just did that, we'd make like really good anaerobic digesters with really, really good like biogas generation, but we wouldn't affect like the problem of food waste, which could feed the world if we addressed it. So there's a really kind of technical, non-technical split between everything we'll talk about this course. And in Canada, a lot of that relates back to kind of our history and the way we're set up and the things that we're still doing to Indigenous people and racialized people. And it's been a big year for those, so I hope we can continue those kind of topics and work them into the course throughout the term. So that's all I'll say for now, but we will come back to it continuously. What we'll talk about in the next video is just some more specifics about how the course is set up and how it's going to work. It's going to be a little bit weird online with COVID, but I'm kind of looking forward to making it happen with you and kind of getting to know you a little bit better and what you're excited about learning about. So I'll talk about that in the next video soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.